GKFX Prime presents the Market Analysis Webinar.
Hello everyone, hello traders, welcome to another weekly market analysis video. My name is Dima, and as ever, I'm gonna take you through this week's possible trade setup opportunities. And I'm also gonna have a look at what happened last week and how the market evolved. So we've got NFP behind us, the first week of the month, and now we should see a little bit of volatility. We should see more clarity in the markets. Last week was a little bit here and there because it was NFP week, which tends to happen in the markets. But let's see how this week evolves, and I'll take you through some of the setups that I've found for this week. And for this week, we have the beginning of 6th of June, and let's go through the majors first of all. We have a little bit of uncertainty, a little bit have to tread carefully because the market is kind of in a very inconsistent pattern at the moment, and we may have to wait a bit longer for things to develop. But bearing that in mind, let's just have a look at what we've got. I'll start with the dollar yen that I've got for this week. So dollar yen here, very clear bullish momentum here on the weekly. We're moving to the upside, and I'll be looking for the market to hit these highs, and it's almost there, about 70 pips away. So I'll be looking to trade towards those highs going into the start of the week. So if I look on the lower time frame, on the 4-hour, I do see a possibility to get into this area right here where we have the gap in price and the support resistance zone, and we can see that at the moment we are very bullish, so would want to see a nice pullback, and the probability of the trade working out would be higher, better risk reward, and this would be the area to look out for on the dollar yen heading into this high right here, which is at 131.4. So that's the dollar yen, clearly bullish at the moment. Next, I'm going to go to dollar Swiss. If I have a look at dollar Swiss again on the weekly, I can see that we're having this pullback here. I'm just going to draw a fib from the last obvious low to the high, and I can see that we've gone through the 50, but we haven't reached the 60.18 level right here. And if I take the fib away for a second, I can see once again we've had this gap in the price right here where the market has not traded back into yet in this area, and we also have a potential support resistance zone here marked by this area here, this wick here, and then possibly the market coming back down into it to go higher still. Now if you look on the daily time frame, we can see that the last few days have really been in a ranging environment, and there's a little bit of uncertainty which direction the market could go. So I would say let's see what happens, play it out. We may see a bit of a push higher. It's possible the market will make that large one more drop down into this area right here, and if the market moves straight up, then I will just have to wait to see what happens, because the probability would be reduced then, and not getting this really lower price that would be preferred. Always want a nice better price before taking a trade. If that doesn't happen, nice cheaper price, then well, so be it. But really we want to favor this zone here, this area around the 0.95 level. So that's the dollar Swiss. Next, let's move on to the minor pairs. I'm going to have a look at EURCAD next. If you remember last week, I was talking a lot about oil and the fact that oil was bullish, and bullishness in oil means not just higher oil prices, but higher strength in the CAD. So with that continued strength in oil and CAD, we're going to look at EURCAD here, and that means strength in the CAD will be weakness in the euro. So I'm looking at continuation of that weakness, which you can clearly see has been happening over the last few weeks. And we've got these wicks over here lying on this zone like so. We've got this last one over here, the market rejecting it, and now last week has been clearly, if I zoom in here, clearly bearish. You can see lots of weakness right here. So I'll be looking at that continuation of this last week going into next week and targeting this clear low right here at 0.338. So where to get in? Well, I'm going to go into the lower time frame. Let's have a look at the 4 hour. What do I see here? Let's just look a bit closer at price. You can see we just went through this level right here, again indicating that the market wants to go lower because we've breached this low here at the moment. And I do see a possible, let's have a look at a possible retracement from the last high to the low. We retrace back to 61.8. So if I do get another, if the market does have another, make another push to this level from here, then this would be a nice level to short from, expecting the market to possibly reject this area maybe once again, and that will be a nice better price. If not, and the opposite happens, if this level is ignored and the market does the opposite and breaks this low over here from last week, which is the low of last week right here, breaks that low, then again a pullback would be the possible area to short from, because you want a nice, more better, more expensive price. That is the outlook. So those two possible opportunities, and of course with the weakness it may just begin to drop very heavily. Let's see what happens, but we have to give it a little bit of time to develop, to see which way it wants to go in order for us to have a higher probability trade. You can also see here, you can draw this kind of a wedge pattern developing here. So the market is squeezing in here, and let's see how it pops. I'm gonna wait for it to develop it a little bit further, perhaps Tuesday, Wednesday, and let's see how it goes from there. So I want to see some nice bearish price action, bearish days, and at the moment we are kind of stuck in this little range. Price has been squeezed in. Okay, that's EURCAD. Let's go down to CAD yen. So once again, bullishness on oil and CAD. Makes sense that CAD yen is ripping higher. We've got very, very bullish momentum. You can see it had a very clear break here of this squeeze right here, where the market consolidated, and now we pushed higher, closed above this high. So once again, looking for that continuation higher up. And where is that going to? Well, here's that last high. So I'll be paying attention to possibly target this 106.4 level. Okay, all of last week being bullish, all these bullish days, would be good to see a retracement. If I go down to the lower time frame on the 4 hour, I do see a level right here, possible zone for a possible retracement, and then again this pullback down here and then heading higher. And if that doesn't happen, the market goes higher still, well, then we'll have to wait for a different setup, which could be something like this. Again, a pullback to an obvious area and then a possible buy. So we'll see. At the moment, it's we'll have to let the probabilities play out and see how it goes and what the market tells us. So at the moment, buying at this high is definitely not a highly probable area, but let's see how the market develops. The probabilities are more in our favor with a lower price. So that's the CAD yen continuation, similar to the dollar yen, both yen pairs. Okay, next one I'm going to look at is gold. Let's look at gold. You know what? Let's look at oil, since we've already been talking about CAD. Let's look at oil. Okay, I'm going to look at the weekly. We can see that once again, bullishness, 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 last 3 weeks. Very obvious. This is sort of a pin pin bar candle. Again, continued bullishness as expected last week. And last week we did have a look at the market retracing, which it did create this big retracement into the zone and headed right higher. Really very clear momentum, very clear bullish behavior. So let me delete all of these markings from last week. Let's clean up the chart a bit and have a look. So expecting the market to reach towards this level, towards this high, which seems like the higher probability in this case for now. And now that we've reached this high as well, so go to the lower time frame, and I'm going to just draw a fib at the moment from this obvious low to the high, and I can see that we have the zone here where we've got the support resistance level here, and we also have, if you look a bit deeper, the 61.8 level right here. So a nice pullback, a cheaper price would be favorable, and let's see if that happens. Then that would be a continuation, a high probability continuation going into this level here, which is a nice risk reward, and that is over 1,000 points away, really 1,000 ticks away. So that'll be a nice, interesting, juicy trade possibility there. And yeah, definitely bullish on oil at the moment. Okay, now I'll go to gold. Let's check out gold. What are we having? Right, so on the weekly, we have created a lower high here. Looks like maybe possible lower high here, but lower low here, lower low here. And now last week created a doji, some uncertainty here. So the question is, are we going to go lower or are we going to go break higher? If I look on the daily, we've consolidated here, created this range, and the market looks like has rejected this level right here. And last Friday, we had this very bearish candle. So this could be the possible rejection wick and then continuation lower. However, because it is in this range and we've got a bit of uncertainty in the dollar, we're ranging the dollar. So let's see where it goes, what happens. The higher probability setup would be to wait a little bit in my eyes for the moment. So the way I see it, if I have a look carefully, if I'm expecting the market to go lower, then I'd expect it to break structures on the lower time frame, definitely on the daily. And the last structure point here I see is this swing. So if there is a break of this swing right here and the market closes below, any pullback would be a higher probability entry going lower into this level here as a first level to pay attention to, and then the next level will be this one that sticks out right here, this wick swing point right here. So let's see if that is the case. If I go down to the daily again, let me just draw a Fibonacci from the last high to the last obvious low. I can see that we've breached the 61.8. Now, one characteristic of gold that I've noticed is that it does tend to have big swings, big moves. So I wouldn't be surprised if it has another go to the 78 level, maybe a bit beyond. Let's see what happens. I would like a nice drop with momentum lower, then possibly looking for a sell opportunity on the lower time frame, the 4 hour, but we're yet to see where the market wants to take its direction. So not so clear at the moment. Let's see where it goes. But this is more or less the outlook. This is the higher probability outlook that I have at the moment. If gold plays by this this analysis, so we never know. Have no idea what the market is going to do. It's just at the moment speculation. So I'm gonna wait and see with that one. Right, move to indices. Let's go to S&P. Now, S&P, I just left the drawings here for the markings from last week. And what I was looking at last week is, as you can see here, I was looking for this level to be reached and a possible retracement to see what the market would do in this zone. As you can see, the market rejected this zone and started to range. So let me remove this zone box right here. Going to the lower time frame, I was looking at this zone as a possible retracement, as a possible buyer, and the market did reject it, but unfortunately it's actually come right back down to more or less the entry point. And I marked out these higher highs, higher lows. Now we've got this high over here, and we've got this low here as a possible next low. However, we've not breached this high over here, and this is what I was expecting for the market to reach back. So it's not done that yet, and I'm still with that expectation. So let's see if that's what happens, if the market gives us that. But in terms of this level, we have not really pushed higher. We didn't go higher, but then we came right back down. So if there is a obvious swing point on the daily, if the market goes lower still, the higher probability would be to break this level right here and create a nice swing point in the market to then confirm that there is bullishness. So I would like to see some nice bullish momentum before considering that the market will more likely reach this level up here, which is the 4,300. At the moment it's ranging, so this is a low probability setup. Need to be very careful here. Let's see some confirmation. Let's see where the market wants to take us and see what happens before actually making a decision. And we might need to do an update in the middle of the week to see where the price is at before making a decision on that one. Okay, last but not least, as always, we've got Bitcoin. Again, this is what we were looking at last week, and you can see what I was looking for the market to do in the analysis was to come down and then head higher into this level right here, with this level being the first point to take profit. Now what happened at the start of the week was the market went right up, cleared all these highs as expected. We had this, let me just draw it again in case you missed it last week. We had this trend line, and I was looking for the market to break that, which we did. We didn't head lower. We had these little lows here. The market was tempting sellers and then just broke out of the trend line. So given that we've got this level here broken, the market made a retracement. I'm still looking at this as a potential goal. Now let's see if that happens. Ultimately, I would like this one right here, but no idea what the market is going to do. We'll just have to play it according to what the market gives in price. Now what we can see is that this level is still being respected here, and if the market does actually push higher from this level and rejects it as it is doing at the moment with momentum to the buy side, that will be a higher probability entry to confirm that we've got some momentum to the buy side, and the buy opportunity, a buy setup, is more likely. However, if it rejects and goes below this level right here, then this whole idea is scrapped, because then we are breaching a structural low, and then we have more probability of the market coming to the downside. Right, that is Bitcoin. I hope that makes sense. Let me know if it doesn't. So we're still there. We're still at the zone where we had last week's entry idea, and you can see we just kind of bounced off it right here, and now we're ranging, and no clear price action here to see that there's a buy. Not yet, at least. So waiting for the probabilities to stack in our favor before actually being convinced that the buy is the one to go for. Now I'm just going to have a quick look at the economic calendar and see whether there's any news that will happen this week that will likely trigger any of these setups or affect any of these possible ideas. So let's go to the economic calendar for the week and just have a quick glance so that we're aware of what's happening. Okay, so here's the calendar, and I filtered it down to the medium and high volatility importance news items. And if I just scroll down, I can see we've got the Royal Bank of Australia here raise statement, but we don't have any Aussie pairs that we looked at, so I'm going to ignore that for now. There's some medium news on the CAD. In Canada on Wednesday, there is a GDP news for the yen, and we do have dollar yen and CAD yen to consider as part of that. So watch out for that if you are going to enter on the Wednesday, if the entry happens then. We've also got, I can see here, GDP for the euro, so that will affect the dollar Swiss because Swiss is related to the euro. And on Thursday, even more so, we've got an interest rate decision, which will be this will be the major news for the week, especially on euro, which will affect the dollar Swiss and the EURCAD, of course, not to forget that. So we've got, for EURCAD, we've got both news on the euro and the CAD here for this week. So that trade carefully with that and observe your risk management. Friday, going into the later part of the week, there's a couple of news items for the dollar here. So that would be affecting the S&P and the dollar Swiss that we have on the setup. And we've got here the unemployment rate for the CAD. So again, this is later in the week, but this will depend on how the CAD yen trade develops. It also may interact with the oil trade and of course the euro CAD, which we've got as well. So we do have two CAD setups, two CAD pairs. So I wouldn't be trading both of them for risk management. So trade safe when it comes to that. So pay attention to the calendar in your time zone. This is for my own time zone right here, but you will need to adjust it to your own, and then pay attention to the chart when the news hits. And one more word in terms of probabilities. The one that I see as being more probabilistic in terms of the technicals and the setup is I see the euro CAD and oil being two strong candidates here. And we've also got Bitcoin, depending on how it actually moves later in the week. Let's see if it actually makes that decision, because here we've got a possibility for it to collapse and this idea breaks down, or we've got a break above this high here if the market does that, and then perhaps trade higher. Let's see if that is the case. So again, the market will always tell you what to do. One tip is, if you're not sure, then you want to wait, give the market a bit more time to develop. And when the picture becomes clearer, the trade actually becomes much easier to see, because the market will tell you. It kind of reveals its hand. It's almost like a poker game where you want to see what actually happens and what the players want to do. And you always want to act at the right time, not too early, not too late, just when the market is showing you its hand and where it wants to go, what it wants to do. So based on that, these are the higher probability scenarios for this week, and let's see where the market goes. Hope this has helped, and good luck for this week in your trading. Trade carefully, especially when it comes to the news items, and I will see you next week. May do an update on the setups and how the market develops. So thank you very much for watching. Hope this has been useful for you, and see you on next week's analysis video as ever, where I'll refresh and have a look at the markets again. Okay, bye for now.